My stepdaughter almost died because of her mother, so I took justice into my own hands. I knew from the moment I married Jake that his ex-wife, Veronica, would always be a problem. She hated me when I walked down the aisle with the man she still wanted, and she hated me even more when Jake and I had our son together. But no matter how much she despised me, I never let it affect how I treated her daughter, Lacey. Lacey was my daughter too, not biologically, but in every way that mattered. I raised her, cared for her, stayed up with her on nights when her body was racked with pain from the autoimmune disorder she had battled since birth. Her condition made life complicated with frequent hospital visits, a fragile immune system, and a strict list of things she couldn't do. Lacey wanted to live like any normal teenager, and I did my best to give her freedom where I could, but some things just weren't safe. So, when Lacey started talking about wanting a tattoo, a stupid little cartoon frog and a cowboy hat, I told her what I always told her when she wanted something risky. Maybe one day, but only if your doctor says it's safe. She pouted, called me overprotective, but I knew she understood. An infection for her could be fatal. Veronica never understood that. She never respected the boundaries Jake and I put in place. Years ago, she had taken Lacey to an amusement park without telling us. Lacey got sick, really sick. She spent weeks in the hospital recovering. I thought that would teach Veronica a lesson, but she just doubled down on being the fun parent. She refused to see herself as reckless, only as the cool mom who made me look like the strict, joyless stepmother. And because of her recklessness, I found myself kneeling on the floor of Lacey's bedroom, pressing my hand against her burning forehead as she trembled, her skin covered in sweat. She was barely conscious. I scooped her up and rushed her to the hospital. The doctors confirmed my worst fear. She had an infection, a bad one. And then came the kicker. It had started from a fresh tattoo on her ribs. A tattoo of a damn frog in a cowboy hat. I saw red. When Lacey was strong enough to speak, she admitted the truth. Veronica had taken her to a seedy tattoo parlor as a surprise gift. She paid an unlicensed artist under the table to tattoo her 14-year-old immune-compromised daughter. I stormed home that night shaking with rage. Jake was upset and worried, but once I said Lacey was fine, he sighed and said, "You know how she is? Our daughter is in the hospital. Because of her." I was shaking. He sighed, rubbing his temples. "I'll talk to Veronica." Talk? That wasn't good enough. I drove straight to Veronica's house, slamming my fists against her door. When she answered, she smirked. "Oh, calm down," she said, rolling her eyes. "I was just giving Lacey something to be happy about. Something you never do." My hands clenched into fists as I informed her that her daughter could have died. Veronica scoffed and said she was fine and that I was being overly dramatic. Then she said, "Maybe if you weren't such a controlling bitch, she wouldn't have gone behind your back. She's not your daughter anyway." I snapped and my hand struck her across the face before I could stop myself. She stumbled back, her eyes wide, more from shock than pain. I should have stopped there, but I didn't. The next few weeks, my anger didn't fade. It transformed. First, I went to the state licensing board and reported the illegal tattoo parlor. The entire place was shut down. That alone wasn't enough. I wanted Veronica to feel what I felt. So I went for her job next. Veronica worked at a daycare. She liked to brag about how much parents adored her. Well, those same parents didn't adore hearing that she illegally took a minor for a tattoo and put her life in danger. She was fired within a week. Then I hit her finances. Veronica had fraudulently claimed extra childcare benefits for Lacey. A little report to the IRS about her under-the-table earnings and false claims. They launched an investigation. Bank accounts frozen. Government assistance revoked. When Veronica showed up at our doorstep screaming, accusing me of ruining her life, I simply smiled. "You ruined your own life the second you put my daughter in danger." She called me evil. Maybe I was, but I didn't care. She learned that day that I wasn't just the stepmom. I was a mother, and no one hurts my kid and gets away with it. Lacey recovered, but she would always carry a scar where that infected tattoo had been removed, a permanent reminder of what her mother did to her. And Veronica? She moved to another state within 6 months, drowning in debt, jobless, and with no custody rights to either of her children. Jake never asked me if I had anything to do with it. Maybe he didn't want to know. Maybe he was just relieved that for the first time in years, Veronica was finally gone. And me? I slept just fine.